Hi, and welcome to BremSter Puzzles, a channel where I try and showcase the fun that can be found in the wonderful world of variant Sudoku. Today I'm going to be showcasing the numbered rooms constraint, one of the more esoteric constraints. You don't see this very often, and I'm going to be doing this with a puzzle called Secret Entrance by Taeqle. I think it's Taeqle, T-E-A-Q-L-E. Yeah, I think it's Taeqle. Now, numbered rooms is actually a constraint that I'm not very familiar with, so this could be an interesting one, and I'm not sure how hard this one is. This has only had a single test, and my tester told me it's like, I was distracted, don't use my time. I don't know how hard this is. Thanks. So I'm kind of going into this one a little bit blind, so we'll be doing that together. Also, I have to explain the logic of a puzzle that I'm not very, of a constraint, the logic of a puzzle and a constraint. I'm not familiar at all with the puzzle, and I'm not very familiar with the constraint. So this will be fun. Let's see how we go. So how does the constraint work? Well, we've got normal Sudoku rules apply, which means that in every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. Now we've got the numbered rooms constraint. So these clues outside the grid are numbered rooms clues. What they do is they indicate the digit which has to be placed in the nth cell in the corresponding direction. So if we use the 1 here, we have to put a 1 somewhere in the row, which we already knew by Sudoku rules. But where it gets placed is in a position which is equal to the digit that is placed here. So for example, if this was a 6, we would know that we would have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that would be the 1. If this was a 5, then this couldn't be the 1. This would have to be the 1, because this is indicating the 5th position in the row has to be a 1. Similarly, if this was a 4, this is telling us the 6 is the 4th position in this column. That's how numbered rooms work. Very, very interesting constraint. I'm not very familiar with it. Let's see, restart the puzzle to restart my timer. Let's give this a shot. I'm confused here. Now, because these 2s, these surely have to be restricted, because what could these be? Now, the first thing I'm noticing is there's a concept called entropy in Sudoku, which is breaking the digits 1 through 9 into 3 sets. Low, which is 1 through 3, mid, which is 4 through 6, and high, which is 7, 8, and 9. And the reason that I'm thinking of entropy is we know that one of these digits is placing the 2 in this row, one of these digits is placing a 2 in this row, and one of them is placing a 2 in this row. Could both of these be low digits? Well, they couldn't, because if, let's say, this was a 1 and this was a 3, well, actually, let's just say this was actually, there's a lot of problems going on here. If this was a 1 and this was a 3, actually, I think one of these has to be a 3, but actually, let's do it with middle digits to explain it better, because there's something weird going on with low digits. But if one of these was a 4 and one of these was a 6, so 2 middle digits, would that work? Well, no, because the 4 would put a 2 here and the 6 would put a 2 here, and I've just put 2 2s in this box, which according to the rules of Sudoku isn't allowed. And the same would be true if I made it a 4 and a 5, that would put a 2 here. The same would be true, would put 2s here and here. If I made it a 5 and a 6, I would be putting 2s here and 2s here. It doesn't work. So one of these digits must be low, one must be mid, and one must be high. Okay, now what can the low digit be? Well, I could make it 1. I can't make it 2. I can't make it 1, because a 1 would mean the 2 has to go in position 1. So if I made this a 1, what that's saying is this is a 2. And this has to be 1 and 2. So I can't make it 1, because 1 is saying this is 2. It doesn't work. I have to put a 2 in the same cell as the 1. If this was a 2, if I put a 2 in here, then I'm saying that the 2 has to go here. But I just declared that the 2 has to go here. So it can't be 2. So one of these is a 3 and one of these is a 2. Now, if one of these is a 2, one of those is a 7, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one of those is a 7, and that's the high digit over here. But it's the same thing. I can't make one of these a 1, because it'd be putting the 2 on top of the 1. I can't make one of them a 2, because it'd put the 2 in the same row. I'd need to put a 2 here to put a 2 here. So one of these is a 3. So one of these is a 2, which means one of these is a 7. And if one of these is a 7, one of this is 4, 5, or 6. This has to be 4, 5, or 6 because the 7 has gone here. And this is also looking at 7. This is 4, 5, or 6 because this is pointing to 7 in this column and this is pointing to 7 in this column. That's very clever. Can I do anything more with it? So these are 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And there'll be a 2 in one of these. And where the 4, and it can never be 5. It can never be 5. So this is 3, 4, 6, and 7, and this is 3, 4, 6, and 7. Because where the 3 goes, there's a 7 opposite. Where the 7 goes, there's a 3 opposite. But wherever the 4 goes, the other one must be a 6. Or a 6 and a 4. So there's a 4-6 pair in one of these. And the reason is, if this was a 4, this would be a 3, and then this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Similarly, I don't know which one it is, but it must be in one of these rows. And we know one of the rows is 3, 7, and the other one is 7, 3. Because we must put a high and a low digit in here, but we know because of the 3 here, one of these is a 7, and because of the 3 here, one of these is a 7. So we know the makeup of the 3 7s. But we can't put a 5 here because if one of these was a 5, it would be putting the 2 here and the 2 would be putting a 5 here and we'd have 2 5s in the row and that doesn't work. This is also looking incredibly weird, isn't it? Because I've got the same entropy pattern happening here. But I could use a 1 in here. So it's got to be a 1 or a 2 because I can't use a 3. So I can never put a 1 in here because 3 is taken out of here. There must be entropy in here. So there must be a 1 or a 2. Now, if I did a 2 in here, it would put a 1 next to it. 2, 1 works. 1, I can't, 1, 1 works because it actually is already lining up. But how does that line up here? If this could be a 1, if this was a 1, this would be a, oh, wait. This could be a 1, but this couldn't be a 2 because if this is a 2, both of those are a 1. That can't be a 2. So this can't be a 1 because if this was a 1, that would have to be a 2 and that can't be a 2 because if that's a 2, both of those are 1. That can't be a 1. If this is a 1, that would be a 3 to make this a 1. But if that's a 3, both of those are 1. That can't be a 1. That's a 1. Which means there's no 2 in here. That's a 1. And these are mid and high. Which is going to give me, well, I can't put a 2 in here. There must be a 2 in one of those two. Because if I put a 2 in here, I'd have to put a 1 here. If I put a 2 in, so where's the 2 in this box? If I put a 2 here, I'd need to put a 1 here. That'd be broken. If I put a 2 here, I'd have to put a 1 here. That'd be broken. So 2 is in one of those 4, but the 2 looking up here says the 2 is in one of those 2, which of course gives me that. But there is a 2 in one of those 2, which means this cell, which is pointing at one of those 2 to place the 2, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. This is a 7 or an 8. But where's the 1 in this column? This has to place a 1 in one of those cells, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. So this is only 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. I already knew it was high, but it can't be 9. And this one can be. Whew. Well, hang on, this is 4, 5, or 6 because the 3 is looking at one of those cells. This is 4, 5, or 6, which means 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These digits are known because this is a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quintuple. So I've got 5 digits placed into 5 different cells in that column. There's a 3 and a 7 here, and the other digits are 4, 5, and 6, with one of those 2 being a 5. So these digits here are 1, 2, 8, and 9. Now these can't be a 1, because if these were a 1, If these were a 1, they'd be saying I'd be putting a 6 because there's a 6 clue here in the first cell, which would mean that they'd simultaneously have to be 1 and 6, which is not possible. So 1 is in one of those two, which means the 1 here is being placed by the 1 clue here, meaning one of those two has to be a 9. But it means that the 6 is either here, here, or here, because the 6 is being placed by a 2, an 8, or a 9. And the 2 would place it here, the 8 would place it here, and the 9 would place it here. And one of them must be an 8 or a 9. Right, there's entropy going on here. One of these must be a 2, so one of these must be a 6. One of these must be an 8 or a 9, placing a 6 in one of those. So what that is telling me is this can't be the 6, so this can't be the 7, and if that can't be the 7, that can't be the 2, which means that can't be the 3. Okay. Okay. Where's the next trick? So I've got the 1 and the 9. There must be a 1 in one of these. This is 4, 5, 6, and 9. So this is 2 or 8 because I can't put an 8 in here. So there's no 8 in here because there must be a 1 in one of those two. And if I put an 8, 9 in here, these contain 2 1s. So there's no 8 in here, there's no 8 in here. This is a 2, 8 pair. And if this is a 2, 8 pair to complete the column, that's the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the 2. Which means this isn't a 2. Now there's a trick I like to use sometimes, which is to mark off clues that are done. That clue is done. I can't put 6 in either of those. So this is actually a 2, 8 pair because I can't put 6 in either of those. Now, there's a couple of things going on. First of all, there must be a 6 in one of those two because one of them is being placed by the 2 and the other one's being placed by the 8. But now, I can't. If I put 2 in any of those cells, both of those would have to be 8. If I put 2 in any of those cells, both of those would have to be 8. The same is true for 8. Basically, 2, 8 pairs are looking at all of those. So 2 and 8 have to be down here. So one of these is a 2 or an 8, possibly both. That's going to have some impact on the 5s. But I can't put 6 in here either. So there's no 2, 8, or 6 in any of those cells. Oh, this isn't a 6 either because 6 has to be here. So these are quite restricted. These cells here, they can be 1, they can't be 2, they can be 3, they can't be 4, 5, they can't be 6, they can't be 7, they can't be 8. This is a 1, 3, 9 triple. They can't be they can't be 2 because of the 2, 8 or the 2 8s. They could be 3. They can't be 4 or 5. They can't be 6s because of the 6s already in the boxes. They can't be 7. They can't be 8 because of the 2 8s already in the box. These are 1, 3, and 9. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 6, and 8. Those are 2, 6, and 8. So the 5 is either here, here, or here. And here, here, or here. Not sure what to do with that yet. But this can't be a 1, because if this is a 1, the 2 would go on top of it. It can't be a 3, because if this is a 3, it would put a 2 here, and both of those would be 8. This is a 9, which makes that the 2. And that clue is done, and I can take the 9 out of both of those. This can't be a 1, because it would put the 4 on top of it. That's the 3, making that the 4. This clue is done. The 3 looks back, making that the 1, but the 4 in the box makes that the 5. Now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the 7. The 7 puts the 2 in the 7th spot, and the 2 here is now in the 3rd spot. This isn't the 3. This isn't the 7. this clue here is done. This is so tightly done, but I've got more information. This 3 clue is now in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a 5. So that becomes a 4, putting a 7 in 1, 2, 3, 4. That's done. So this clue is done and this clue is done. But if this is the 7, it's putting a 2 in the 7th spot. This isn't the 2. 2 in the 7th spot means that's the 3. This isn't the 7. This isn't the 3. And 2 is in one of those 2 spots because this has to be a 4-6 pair. If I put 2 here, then these would both have to be 5. And the 4 is looking up, making that the 6, which makes that the 2 and that the 4. This is not the 2. What clues are now done? This one is done, 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 this one is done. Now, this isn't a 2 anymore by Sudoku, so 5 can't be in 6 because 2 is in 6. So this is the 8, this is the 5, and this clue is done, and I can remove 8 from both of those. 5 has to either be here or here. Not sure. This isn't a 5 anymore. There's no 2 or 8 in either of those because of the 2, 8 looking up. That's been there for a while. I just didn't get it. So this is 1 and 9. Now I knew one of these was be 9. So 9 has to be up here, but I can't put 9 here because if 9 is here, a 9 is in the first spot and this would also have to be a 1. So 9 is in one of those 2 and this can't be the 9 because if this was a 9, 6 would be in the 9th spot and 6 isn't in the 9th spot. The 9th spot is an 8. So this isn't the 9, this is the 9. So where's 6 in this column? This can't be 1 or 2. It could be 3. It can't be 4 because that can't be 6. It can't be 5. It can't be 6 because I'd put 2 6s in the column. It could be 7. It can't be 8 or 9. So the 6 is either here or here, and it can't be here because of the 2 6 pair. This is 3. This is 6. This is beautiful. The 6 takes 6 out of there. 9 in this column, it's in one of those cells. So this is 4. It can't be 5 or 6. It could be 7 or 8. So this is only 4, 7 or 8, putting the 9 in one of those cells only. This can't be a 4 anymore, and neither can this. Because if either of those are a 4, those would have to be the 1. So there's no 4 there anymore. 1 is either here or here, or here or here. Huh. And I know 6 is here and here. Wait a minute, that puts 6 in... Where's 6 in box 4? It's not in any of those cells. It can't be in those because then I couldn't put 6 here and these would be broken. It has to be in one of those 2, but this 6 is looking across saying not there. That's the 6. So these are 1, 5, 8, and 9. One of these is mid, one of those is high. Well, I can never put a 1 here, because if I put a 1 here, this would have to be a 7, and that can't be the case. So there's no 1 here. 1 is in one of those 2. So one of these 2 has to be an 8. So this isn't an 8, and the 9 is either here or here. What's the mid? It can't be 5. So this is 4, 6, 8. Now this one can't be 6 because I can't make that 1. I could put 1 in either of those. So 1 is in one of those 3 cells. Okay, this will be a Sudoku mix-up. These are 1, 6, 9. There's no 1 there. There's no 6 there. Yeah. 5 is here or here. What's this quadruple? 1, 4, 7, 9. There's no 7 in either of those. 7 is in one of those two. Two, 5, or 6, 5. If this is 6, 5, that puts 5 in one of those two. The position of these 6s is what's going to disambiguate this. I'm not sure how that's going to work either. Huh. Huh. Six is in one of those two. I don't think that's doing it. 7 is in one of those two. I'm looking at the numbered rooms clues, seeing what I can figure out. If this is 4, 1, 9. Oh, the 4 is looking up. That's the 8. Sorry, the 4 was looking up. That did it. So this is 4 or 6. The 1 is in one of those two. The 8 makes that the 1, which of course means that's not the 1, and this is the 6, 9. Great. Now this is a triple. 5, 7, and 9. There's no 5 there. This clue, of course, is now done. This is an 8 in one of those. There's no 7 there, of course, because of the box. 7 is in one of those two. Where's 3 in here? There's no 3 in there. There's no 3 in there. This is a 3, which is putting 3 in one of those two. This is 4, 6, or 7, and that doesn't seem to help me much. So that was a simple Sudoku thing that I missed. There's no 4 there. There's no 1 there. This can't be 1, 2, 3, 4. It can be 5. This is 5, 8, or 9. 8 is in one of those three. This is 5, 8, or 9. That's not it either that I can see. Huh. A little bit of tricky Sudoku at the end, or BremSter's blind. Both are possible. One is more likely than the other. Where's 5 in this box? It's in one of those two. If that's a 5, that's a 1. One of those, if that's a 5, that's a 1, that's a 9. If that's a 6, that's a 1, that's a 9. One of those two has to be a 1. But so what? So this is from 3, 5, 6, and 7, and I can't put 6 in those. That doesn't seem to be it either, does it? Okay, so what is it? A numbers room chain? Like I can see there's all sorts of things going on with, 6, 5, 9, 7. Maybe, I don't know. 4, 9. If this is 6, 5, 9, that's 7. If this is 6, holy cow, look at this. If this is 6, that's 5, that's 9. Six, 5, 9, 7, 4. Because one of those two has to be a 7. Hang on, if 6, 5, 9, 7, which makes that a 7. If this is a 6, okay, if this is a 6, this becomes a 5, which makes that a 9. But if this is a 5, this is a 7, which means this can't be a 4, because if this is a 4, this would have to be a 9, but we just made it a 7. So this would have to be a 7, and there's two 7s. This can't be a 6. That's a 2. That's a 5. That's crazy. I don't know if that's needed or if I missed something. And I don't know if it's going to give me anything either. Puts 2 right there, which I may have already had. No, I didn't. Means that's not 6, that's 6. So can I continue that? If that's 4, that's 7. One of those two has to be 7. Because if that's 4, no, if that's 4, that's 9 and that's 7. If that's 7, that's 9 and that's 7. 4, oh, that can never be 7. If that's 4, that's 9 and that's 7. If that's 7, that can't be 7. That's the way to see that. That is always the 7. Interesting. That was probably a cleaner way of seeing it, but I didn't. And again, I don't know what that's feeding me, apart from the fact I've got 7 pencil marked in here. So 7 is in one of those two. What can this be? Can't be 1, can't be 2, 3, could be 4, can't be 5, 6, 7. There's 4 or 8 only. 4 is down here. I'm losing this. I'm really losing this. 6 is here or here for both of those clues. The 9 is putting 9 either here or here. If this is 7, 9, six, 9, 8, 2. No, I don't get it. Four, 9, 5, 7, 9, 6, 1, 5, 1. Oh, this can't be 7, 9. If this is 7, 9, these are both mid and those are both 1. There must be a mid in here. That's the 5, that's the 9, that's the 6, that's the 4, that's the 7. That is the other way of doing it. The 9 makes that the 1, which makes that the 9. The 6 makes that the 1. And these clues are both done. There's a couple of different ways of looking at this. The 4 here, of course, makes this the 1. This is not the 1. And that is done. The 4 now makes this the 7, which looks down, making that the 9, and I can take 9 out of both of those, and this clue is done. The only clues I haven't done now are these 6 clues. But this can't be 1 or 7. This is 4 or 8. So this is a pair. 3, 7. So this can't be 4 or 7. This is the 6. And these, 4, 8. That's a 3, 7 pair. So that becomes the 5. There's no 5 there. That's a 3, 6, 7 triple. But there's also a triple here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4, 8, 9. Well, there's no 4 there. 9 is in one of those two for the 1, 4, 7, 9. 7 here, and the 6, 9 takes 9 out of there. This is 5, 8, and that's the 9, making that the 8, which makes that the 4 and that the 8. The 4 and the 8 makes that the 9. There's no 9 there. That's the 9. It's the 6s I haven't resolved. These are 1, 4, and 5. The 1 and the 4 in row 4 makes that the 5. This is known. That's a 3. So 3 and 3 makes that a 3. This is, where's the 1 in this box? That's the 1. So that's the 4. That's the 7. This is a 4, looking at making that the 8 and that the 4. I hope I haven't made a mistake. 1, 5, and 8 go in, but the 8 takes the 8 out of those. That becomes the 8. Now the 1 and the 5, how do I resolve that? The 4 makes that the 1 and that the 4, which makes that the 5 and that the 1, which makes that the 8 and that the 5. Now something's got to blow this open. The 9 makes that the 6 and that the 9, and the 6th is in the 8th position, making that the 2, making that the 2 and that the 8. Now all of the clues are done. I can mark them off. Now, the 6 here means this isn't a 6, or the 6 and the 3 makes that the 7, making that the 3, making that the 6. The 7 looks up, making that the 3 and that the 7, and that is, congratulations, I solved it. It's at 118 solves in 95.2 days. Hopefully a video feature will get that up. Now, I'm not very familiar with numbered rooms, and if you're not familiar with it either, and if you don't know the entropy trick, which you often get from indexing puzzles, often there's a rules constraint called 159, which is column indexing, that is a trick that taught me this very early on in the channel. This is a really interesting puzzle. There was a lot of different things to think about in this one. Not a ridiculously hard puzzle, but once again, I had to explain what I was finding while I was finding it. Always adds a level of difficulty. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. Thank you everyone for watching. I really hope you're enjoying the content. I'm always up for feedback, preferably positive. Constructive criticism is always welcome though. Reach out to me on Discord, and if you've got a puzzle that you would like to submit or recommend, please check out my submission guidelines below. Thank you everyone, and as always, good luck with your solving.